The diner clock read 2:47 a.m. when Elena noticed the last customer still hadn't moved from his corner booth. She'd been wiping down tables for 20 minutes. The man sat rigid, too rigid, his coffee untouched and cold. Then she saw them through the window. 3 shadows. No, 4. Men standing 2 still across the street. Hands in jackets. Wrong posture for a cigarette break. Her stomach dropped. The man in the booth wasn't looking at his phone. His jaw was locked, knuckles white around the edge of the table. Vincent Moretti, the regular who always left at midnight. Always. For 2 years, she'd watched him keep that schedule like clockwork. Now he sat frozen at closing time, while armed men positioned themselves outside every exit. He was trapped. Elena's pulse hammered. She moved to the window, pretending to check the lock. 5 men now. No, 6. Positioned at the front entrance. The side alley, even near the kitchen exit. Professional spacing. Military precision. This wasn't random. Someone had planned this perfectly. Waited for him to be alone. Vulnerable. Cut off. Her eyes flicked back to Moretti. His phone sat dark on the table. Dead or jammed. His usual driver nowhere in sight. No backup. No escape route. Just a man sitting in a diner, surrounded by assassins waiting for him to walk out. He knew. Of course he knew. That's why he hadn't moved. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss what happens next. How long could he wait? Until they came inside? Until they realized he wasn't leaving and decided to finish it here, where she stood counting tips? Elena's hands trembled. She'd grown up 3 blocks from here. Knew every dealer, every gangbanger, every crew that ran these streets. She recognized a hit setup when she saw one. Moretti's eyes met hers across the empty diner. Sharp, calculating, reading her like she'd just figured out his death sentence. She saw the acceptance there. The cold math of a man outnumbered 6 to 1 with nowhere to run. He was making peace with not walking out alive. Something snapped in her chest. Elena grabbed 2 to-go cups, filled them with fresh coffee, her mind racing through every back alley and shortcut she knew from 15 years in this neighborhood. The route her brother used to take home from his dealer. The path through Mrs. Chen's courtyard that connected to the parallel street. The fire escape ladder that dropped behind the Vietnamese restaurant. She could get him out. Maybe. If he trusted her. If they moved fast. If the shooters hesitated even 10 seconds at seeing a couple instead of a target. It was insane. Suicidal. She'd watched her cousin die in crossfire when she was 12. Knew what bullets did to bodies. Knew she should lock herself in the kitchen and call 911 and let whatever was about to happen just happen. But Moretti had left her a $100 tip last Christmas. Had scared off the drunk who grabbed her in the parking lot last summer. Had asked about her mother when she was sick. He was a criminal. Maybe a killer. But he'd been kind to her. Elena walked to his booth. Steady steps. Casual smile. She set both coffees down and leaned close enough that only he could hear. Keep walking and don't stop. The words came out stronger than she felt. No matter what you see or hear, you're walking your girlfriend home from her shift. That's all. Nothing more. Moretti's eyes widened a fraction. Barely. But she saw the calculation shift. The desperate math of a cornered man being offered a lifeline. She pulled off her staff jacket. The oversized one Rosie made everyone wear with the diner logo. Draped it over his shoulders. It was ridiculous. Wouldn't fool anyone up close. But in darkness? From a distance? For 5 seconds? His hand caught her wrist. Gentle but firm. The question in his grip was clear. Why would you do this? Because those men will kill us both if you don't move right now. She pulled him up, linked her arm through his. Pressed close like she'd done this 1,000 times. Like she wasn't screaming inside. Ready? Moretti stood. 6'2" of lethal reputation wrapped in a Waitress jacket. He let her guide him toward the front door. Matched her casual pace. His body coiled tight as wire beneath the fabric. Elena pushed the door open. Cold air hit her face. The bell chimed bright and normal. She laughed. High and fake and perfect. Leaned into Moretti like he'd just said something funny. Her voice carried across the empty street. You're so bad. Just terrible. She swatted his chest playfully. Keep walking. Her lips barely moved. Left at the corner. They stepped onto the sidewalk. The shadows shifted. She felt eyes lock onto them, saw the nearest man's hand move inside his jacket. Her heart stopped. This was it. They'd made a mistake. He was reaching for the gun. They were both about to die on the pavement. But Moretti laughed, deep and genuine sounding, pulled her closer, nuzzled her hair like a man drunk on his girlfriend. His voice rumbled against her temple. "You're insane, brave and insane." The gunman hesitated. His hand stilled. Confusion flickered across his face. This wasn't the target profile. Moretti didn't have a girlfriend. Never left with anyone. The intel said he'd be alone. Vulnerable. Elena kept walking, one foot in front of the other. Corner coming up in 15 feet. The alley she needed was just beyond. If they could make it. If the shooters stayed confused long enough. If nobody called out or checked closer. Another shadow moved near a parked car. Radio crackle. Low voice. "Is that him?" Can't see his face. "Who's the girl?" 10 feet to the corner. Elena's legs wanted to run. Wanted to bolt. She forced herself to maintain the casual pace. Laughed again. Squeezed Moretti's arm like they had all the time in the world. Like she couldn't feel 6 pairs of eyes burning into her back. Like she couldn't hear the safety clicking off a gun somewhere behind them. 5 feet. Movement in her peripheral vision. Someone stepping forward. Voice sharp with command. "Hey, stop. Turn right now." Elena hissed. Moretti obeyed. They rounded the corner. Half a second out of sight. She yanked him hard into the narrow gap between buildings. The alley was pitch black. Garbage bins and fire escapes. The path she'd walked 100 times with her eyes closed. "Run." She pulled him forward. Behind them, boots hit pavement. Shouts erupted. The ambush was blown. They knew. They were coming. Moretti's hand found hers. Gripped tight. He let her lead, even though every instinct probably screamed to take control. Trust. He was giving her complete trust. Elena navigated by memory. Left around the dumpster. Squeezed through the gap in the fence. Up 3 stairs to Mrs. Chen's courtyard. The old woman never locked her back gate. "Please let it still be unlocked. Please." The gate gave. They crashed through. Voices echoed behind them closer now. Too close. How did they catch up so fast? Through here. Elena dragged him across the small garden. Koi pond glinting in moonlight. Past the Buddha statue. The gap in the hedge that led to the parallel street. Gunfire cracked the night. Once. Twice. Bullets spanged off bricks somewhere above their heads. Elena's scream caught in her throat. Moretti shoved her down. Covered her body with his. They hit the ground hard. "Move." His voice was pure command now. Raw and sharp. The polite customer vanished. This was someone used to killing. Used to survival. He pulled her up. Pushed her toward the gap. They burst through onto Morrison Street. Empty. Dark. No shooters. Yet. My car. 2 blocks that way. Moretti was already running. Elena's lungs burned. Her shift shoes slipped on wet pavement. He caught her elbow. Steadied her. Kept them both moving. More shouts behind them. The rival gang pouring through the courtyard. Radio chatter coordinating. They had maybe 30 seconds before those men caught sight of them again. There. Black Mercedes gleaming under a streetlight. Moretti had keys in hand. How? When? She didn't see him grab them. The doors unlocked with a chirp. He shoved her toward the passenger side. "Get in." Engine roaring to life before her door even closed. Tires squealed. The Mercedes lurched forward. Elena twisted to look back. Men spilling onto Morrison Street. Guns raised. Muzzle flashes in the darkness. "Get down." Moretti's hand pushed her head below the dashboard. The rear window exploded. Glass showering the back seat. He cranked the wheel hard. The car fishtailed around a corner. Accelerated into the empty streets. Elena stayed down. Heart slamming against her ribs. Glass in her hair. The reality crashing over her in waves. She just helped a Mafia boss escape assassination. Just got shot at. Just made herself a target for whoever wanted him dead. What had she done? What had she possibly done? The car's speed steadied. Moretti's breathing harsh in the silence. Finally he spoke. "You can sit up now. We're clear. For now." Elena raised her head slowly. They were on the highway, city lights blurring past. She looked at Moretti, really looked at him. Blood on his collar from a glass cut. Eyes hard as diamonds. Hands steady on the wheel despite everything. This was the real Vincent Moretti, not the polite late-night customer. The man who lived with death. He glanced at her. Something flickered in his expression. Gratitude? Respect? Wonder? You just saved my life. His voice was quiet. Raw. No one's ever. He stopped. Shook his head. What's your name? Your real name? Elena. Elena Torres. Elena Torres. He tested it. Nodded. I owe you a debt I can never repay. You understand what that means? She understood. In his world, debt was currency. Protection. Power. She'd just become someone Vincent Moretti was bound to. Someone his enemies would now target. Someone who couldn't go back to her normal life. The diner. She whispered. Rosie. My apartment. I can't. You can't go back. Not yet. Maybe not ever. He said it gently but firmly. They saw you. They'll identify you. Come for you. I need to get you somewhere safe. Make arrangements. Figure out who set that trap and why. Elena's hand shook. The adrenaline draining away left her hollow. Cold. She'd acted on instinct. Saved a man without thinking about consequences. Now those consequences were rewriting her entire existence. But as the highway stretched ahead into darkness, and Moretti drove them towards some unknown safe house, some temporary shelter from the war, she just entered. Elena felt something strange beneath the fear. Something almost like purpose. For 2 years, she'd served coffee and cleared plates and dreamed of something more. Something that mattered. Tonight, she'd mattered. She'd saved a life. Changed everything. Maybe doomed herself in the process. But she'd acted. Been brave. Made a choice that counted. Moretti's voice broke the silence. Keep walking and don't stop. That's what you said. He glanced at her. Slight smile tugging his mouth. Best advice I've ever received. From a waitress who's apparently trained in tactical extraction. I grew up 3 blocks from your ambush. Elena's own smile felt shaky. You learn the exits, or you don't survive. He nodded, understanding, respect deepening in his eyes. Well, Elena Torres, welcome to the most dangerous decision of your life. I promise you this, though. You saved me tonight. I'll make sure you survive what comes next. The city disappeared behind them. The life she knew fading with the lights. Elena didn't know where they were going. Didn't know who wanted Moretti dead or what war she'd stepped into. Didn't know if she'd ever see her apartment or Rosie or normal again. But as the Mercedes carried them into the unknown with the Mafia boss, she'd just saved watching her like she was the most fascinating person he'd ever met. Elena realized something terrifying and thrilling. She didn't want to go back. Not yet. Maybe not ever. The safe house was 20 minutes outside the city. Elena's adrenaline crashed hard the moment Moretti killed the engine. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. The reality of what she'd done hitting in waves. She'd walked past assassins, been shot at. Glass still glittered in her hair like deadly confetti. Moretti was already moving. Phone pressed to his ear. Voice low and clipped. Marcus, I need a full sweep team at my location. Now. No. Listen to me. The Battaglia crew knew exactly where I'd be. Down to the minute. We have a leak. Elena stumbled out of the car. Her legs felt disconnected from her body. The safe house was industrial. Warehouse conversion. Steel doors. No windows on the ground floor. The kind of place designed for exactly this. Hiding from people who wanted you dead. Inside, Moretti's hand on her elbow. Gentle but firm. Guiding her through the reinforced door. The space opened into something unexpected. Expensive furniture. Art on exposed brick walls. A full kitchen. This wasn't a warehouse. This was a home. His home. Sit. Before you fall. He pulled out a chair at the massive dining table. Disappeared into what she assumed was a bedroom. Returned with a first aid kit and a blanket. Your neck. There's glass. Elena touched her skin. Came away with blood. She hadn't even felt it. The shock numbing everything. Moretti knelt beside her chair. His fingers were surprisingly careful, removing tiny shards, cleaning the cuts. This close, she could see the scar above his eyebrow, the gray threading his dark hair at the temples, the exhaustion in the lines around his eyes. You should be furious with me, she whispered. I could have gotten you killed with that stupid plan. His eyes met hers. You saved my life with that stupid plan. There's a difference. He pressed gauze to a deeper cut. They would have stormed the diner in another 10 minutes. Rosie would have been collateral damage. You would have been collateral damage. Instead, we both walked out. How did you know they were there? Years of watching. Elena's voice steadied as she explained. Her childhood, 3 blocks from the diner. Her cousin Carlos, who ran with the East Side crew until a rival gang caught him on the corner of 5th and Maple. The way she'd learned to read body language. Positioning. The specific stance of men carrying concealed weapons. You don't survive that neighborhood without knowing who's hunting and who's prey. Morty sat back on his heels. Processing. The waitress who served him coffee for 2 years had street instincts most of his soldiers lacked. Who are you really, Elena Torres? Just someone who paid attention. She pulled the blanket tighter, the shock giving way to exhaustion. Someone who's probably unemployed now. Homeless. Maybe dead by morning when they find out where I live. They won't find you. Moretti's voice carried absolute certainty. I'm moving you tonight. New apartment. New identity if needed. You're under my protection now. That's not negotiable. A phone buzzed. Moretti answered without leaving her side. Marcus, talk to me. Elena couldn't hear the other side, but watched Moretti's expression darken. His jaw clenched. How many? He asked. Then, find them. All of them. I want to know who paid for that hit by sunrise. He ended the call. Looked at Elena with something like regret. They already identified you. Had your address before we made it 5 blocks. The Battaglia crew sent men to your apartment. She felt the blood drain from her face. Rosie? The diner? Both fine. I had Marcus send protection the moment we left. But Elena, they trashed your apartment. Sent a message. They know you helped me escape. You're marked now. The room tilted. Everything she owned. Her mother's jewelry. The culinary school applications she'd been filling out. The life she'd been building for 2 years after escaping her own dangerous past. Gone. Destroyed because she decided to be brave for 5 minutes. Hey. Moretti's hand caught her chin. Tilted her face up. Look at me. You're alive. That's what matters. Everything else we can replace. Everything else we can fix. Can you fix me being terrified? Elena's voice cracked. Can you fix me shaking so hard I can barely breathe? I'm not like you. I'm not used to this. Yes, you are. He said it so certainly she almost believed him. You grew up in it. Survived it. Tonight proved you have better instincts than half my crew. The fear? That's smart. That keeps you alive. Outside, tires crunched on gravel. Moretti was on his feet instantly. Gun appearing from somewhere. Elena hadn't even seen him armed. He moved to the window, checked the security camera feed on his phone, then relaxed fractionally. It's Marcus. With the team. The door opened and men flooded in. 5 of them. All armed. All looking at Moretti with relief and then shock. Their boss was alive. Standing in his safe house with a waitress in a bloody uniform and glass in her hair. The tall one, Marcus, stared at Elena like she was a ghost. This is the girl. This is Elena Torres. Moretti's voice carried warning. She saved my life tonight. Walked me out past 6 shooters. Come to my car. She's under full protection. Anyone has a problem with that? Silence. The men looked at each other. At Elena. And Moretti's protective stance between them and her. Message received. Marcus approached slowly. Hands visible. Miss Torres, I don't know what you did or how you did it. But Vince doesn't owe debts lightly. You need anything. Anything. You tell me. Not to be murdered in my sleep would be nice. Elena's exhaustion made her honest. And maybe some clothes that don't have another person's blood on them. One of the younger soldiers. Carlo. Step forward. His sister's about your size. I can grab stuff from her place. Be back in 20. Moretti nodded. Do it. Marcus. Status on the Battaglias. We're tracking 3 crew houses. Marcus pulled up his tablet. They're scrambling. Didn't expect you to escape. The hit was supposed to be clean. In and out. They paid off your driver. Jammed your phone signal. Even had a man in the building across from the diner with a rifle in case you tried the back exit. How much planning? Moretti's voice was ice. Weeks. Maybe months. This wasn't opportunistic. They knew your schedule. Your routines. Everything. Elena's stomach turned. She'd stumbled into something massive. A planned execution by a rival organization with resources and intelligence. and she'd ruined it with nothing but neighborhood knowledge and desperation. The leak. Morty said, "Who knew I'd be at the diner tonight?" Marcus's face went grim. 37 people. Your inner circle. I'm vetting every single one. Do it quietly. Moretti's eyes were hard. I want whoever sold me out to think they're safe. For now, the men discussed strategy. Territory. Retaliation. Elena listened in a daze. This was Moretti's real world. The one hidden behind expensive suits and polite coffee orders. A world of betrayal and violence and complex power plays she barely understood. But she understood survival. And sitting in this room, surrounded by armed men discussing gang warfare, Elena realized something. She felt safer than she had in years. Maybe ever. These men were criminals. But they operated by rules. Codes. Moretti had given his word she was protected. In his world, that meant something absolute. Don't forget to like this story and share it with friends who love intense plot twists. Carlo returned with a duffel bag. Clothes. Toiletries. Even shoes. Moretti pointed Elena toward the bedroom. Get cleaned up. We need to move you again before sunrise. Different location. More secure. Where? Elena took the bag. Felt the weight of reality. Where can I possibly go that's safe? With me. Moretti said it simply, like it was obvious. Until we eliminate the threat, you stay close. My personal protection. My responsibility. The men shifted. This was unusual. Elena could see it in their faces. Moretti didn't take personal responsibility for assets. Didn't bring civilians into his direct orbit. But he wasn't asking their permission. He was stating fact. She nodded. Disappeared into the bedroom. Peeled off her ruined uniform. The shower water ran red with blood and glass. Her body was covered in bruises she didn't remember getting. The fall in Mrs. Chen's garden. Moretti shoving her down when bullets flew. The impact of diving into the car. Each mark told the story of how close they'd come to dying. Elena dressed in borrowed clothes. Dark jeans. Black sweater. They fit almost perfectly. She looked at herself in the mirror. Same face. Same dark eyes. But something had shifted. She looked harder. Older. Someone who'd been shot at and survived. When she emerged, Moretti was alone. The others gone to handle whatever needed handling. He looked up from his phone. Better? Cleaner at least. Elena managed a shaky smile. What happens now? Now we get you somewhere the Battaglias can't touch you. He grabbed keys to a different car. Probably ditching the Mercedes. Too recognizable. Then we figure out who betrayed me. Then we end this war before it costs more lives. And me? Elena asked. What do I do while you're ending wars? You stay alive. Moretti held her gaze. You stay close. You let me protect you the way you protected me. Fair trade? It wasn't fair at all. She'd save him once. He was promising to save her indefinitely. But arguing seemed pointless. She was marked. Hunted. Had nowhere else to go. Fair trade. She agreed. They left the safe house in a gray sedan. Anonymous. Unremarkable. Moretti drove with the same careful attention he'd given to removing glass from her neck. Every mirror check. Every turn signal. The man was incapable of being careless. Where are we going? Elena watched the city wake up around them. Dawn painting everything gold and pink. She should be exhausted. Instead, adrenaline hummed under her skin. The fear transforming into something else. Alertness. Hyper-awareness. Every car a potential threat. Every shadow a possible shooter. Somewhere they'd never look. Moretti's slight smile was grim. Sometimes the safest place to hide is in plain sight. They pulled up to a high-rise in the financial district. Doorman. Security. Expensive cars in the garage. The kind of building that screamed money and legitimacy. The exact opposite of where you'd hide from a gang war. Penthouse. Moretti handed her a key card. 40th floor. Bulletproof windows. Security system linked directly to my phone. For exits, including a helicopter pad if things get desperate. You're giving me your penthouse? Elena stared at the card. I'm staying with you. He grabbed a go bag from the trunk. Until this is over. Until you're safe. That means I don't let you out of my sight. The implications hit her. Living with Vincent Moretti. The Mafia boss she'd served coffee for 2 years. The man she'd saved and who'd saved her in return. Trapped together in a penthouse while his enemies hunted them both. This is insane. She whispered. Yes. Moretti's eyes met hers. Completely insane. But you walked past 6 assassins tonight. Insane seems to be your specialty. Elena laughed. Exhaustion and shock and something like exhilaration mixing in a sound that shouldn't exist. He was right. She'd done the impossible. Survived the unsurvivable. Why stop now? They took a private elevator to the 40th floor. The penthouse opened like something from a magazine. Floor-to-ceiling windows. The city spread below them like a kingdom. Moretti's kingdom. The place he ruled from behind legitimate businesses and careful appearances. Guest room is there. He pointed. Master suite there. Kitchen is fully stocked. Office is off limits. Security panic button in every room. You see or hear anything wrong. You press it. I'll come running. Elena set down the duffel bag. Looked at the man who'd become her protector. Her what? Captor? Savior? Partner in survival? What am I to you? She asked. Really? Moretti considered the question. Gave her the truth. I don't know yet. But you're someone who risked everything for a stranger. Someone who trusted their instincts. Someone I want to understand. That's rare in my world. That's valuable. I'm not valuable. Elena's voice went quiet. I'm a waitress who got lucky. You're a woman who saw a trap professional soldiers missed. Moretti stepped closer. Who created an escape plan in seconds. Who walked through fire without hesitation. Don't minimize what you did tonight, Elena. It was extraordinary. The way he said her name. Like it mattered. Like she mattered. Elena felt something shift in her chest. Dangerous. This man was dangerous in ways that had nothing to do with guns and gang wars. Get some rest. He moved toward the master suite. We'll debrief properly later. Figure out next steps. For now, you're safe. I promise. Elena watched him disappear. Stood alone in the penthouse with the sunrise, painting everything gold through bulletproof windows. Safe. Protected. Marked for death, but somehow more alive than she'd felt in years. What had she done? What had she possibly done? She'd saved Vincent Moretti's life, and in doing so had tangled her fate with his so completely there was no unwinding it. The waitress and the Mafia boss. The woman from 3 blocks away and the man who ruled the city. Bound together by bullets and blood and 5 words whispered in a desperate moment. Keep walking and don't stop. Elena hadn't stopped. Wouldn't stop. Couldn't stop now even if she wanted to. The war had just begun, and she was in it, right in the center, right where Vincent Moretti could see her, right where she realized, despite everything, she wanted to be. Elena woke to shouting, Moretti's voice sharp and lethal through the penthouse walls. She bolted upright, heart slamming. The guest room door flew open. Marcus stood there, gun drawn, face grim. They posted your photo. Every crew house, every corner. The Battaglias put 50,000 on your head. You're the most wanted woman in the city right now. The phone in Marcus's hand showed grainy security footage. Elena's face, clear as day, walking Moretti out of the diner. The timestamp, the angle. Someone had pulled every camera feed from that block, enhanced the images, distributed them to every soldier looking to make easy money. $50,000 for the waitress who ruined their perfect hit. Moretti appeared behind Marcus, jaw clenched, eyes blazing. This changes everything. You can't go anywhere. Can't be seen. They'll shoot you on sight. I have to call Rosie. Elena was already reaching for her phone. Warn her. She can't open the diner if they're hunting me. Everyone there is at risk. Already done. Moretti's voice softened fractionally. Rosie's closed for renovations. Full security team. Your co-workers are being relocated. Paid. Protected. Anyone who might have seen you with me that night. How many people? Elena whispered. How many lives am I destroying? You're not destroying anything. The Battaglias are. Moretti moved closer. This is what they do. Escalate. Terrorize. Make examples. You just gave them a reason to show their teeth. Marcus's phone buzzed. His face went white. Boss. They hit the diner anyway. Firebombed it 30 minutes ago. Rosie got out, but the building's gone. Elena's legs gave out. She caught the doorframe. The diner. Her home for 2 years. The place she'd learned to smile again after her own dark past. Rosie's dream. 40 years of business. Gone. Burned because Elena had tried to save one man's life. I need to see her. Elena's voice shook. I need to tell Rosie I'm sorry. I need to. You need to stay alive. Moretti cut her off. Rosie's safe. That's what matters. Going her makes you both targets. Makes everyone around you targets. You want to help? You stay here. You stay hidden. I can't just hide. Elena's fear transformed to rage. They burned the diner. They're hunting my friends. I did this. I have to fix it. You can't fix a gang war. Moretti's control cracked. You think walking outside changes anything? You think your guilt helps anyone? They want you dead, Elena. Dead. To send me a message. To show what happens when someone interferes with Battaglia business. Then let me help end it. She met his eyes. Fierce. Desperate. You said I have good instincts. Use them. Let me help you find the leak. Find whoever sold you out. I know how to watch. How to listen. How to see what people try to hide. Moretti stared at her. The waitress with fire in her voice demanding to hunt the people hunting her. Something shifted in his expression. Respect. Admiration. Maybe something more dangerous than either. Marcus. Set up in the office. Moretti's decision made. Bring everything we have on the Battaglias. Territory maps. Financial records. Known associates. All of it. Boss. Are you serious? Marcus looked between them. She's a civilian. She's the reason I'm alive to have this conversation. Moretti's voice went cold. And she's clearly not hiding in a corner while we handle this. So either we use her help or she does something stupidly brave on her own. Which would you prefer? Marcus sighed, nodded, disappeared to gather files. Elena followed Moretti to his office. The room was war central. Multiple screens. Secure communications. Maps covering one entire wall with territories marked in different colors. Red for Battaglia holdings. Blue for Moretti's. Purple where they overlapped. Contested ground. This is the city. Moretti pointed. 23 different organizations. The Battaglias run the port. Smuggling. Human trafficking. Drugs coming in from overseas. They're expanding. Pushing into neighborhoods they don't control. Starting wars they can't finish. Why do they want you dead specifically? Elena studied the map. There are bigger players. More territory. Because I won't let them expand. Moretti's finger traced boundaries. These neighborhoods. The ones near your diner. Working class. Immigrant families. The Battaglias want to flood them with drugs. Force out the residents. Build luxury developments. I've been blocking every attempt. Buying buildings. Providing security. They can't move product with my people watching. You're protecting the neighborhood. Elena's understanding shifted. That's why you came to the diner. You weren't just a customer. You were keeping watch. Someone has to. Moretti's voice carried old pain. I grew up 3 blocks from there. Same as you. I know what happens when neighborhoods fall, when families lose everything. I swore I'd never let that happen again. If this story has you on the edge of your seat, subscribe now and hit that notification bell. Elena saw him differently. Not just a feared mafia boss. A man protecting home. Fighting a war to save the place that made him. The contradiction shouldn't work. Criminal and protector. Killer and guardian. But standing in his office, surrounded by maps of battle lines, Elena understood. Sometimes heroes wore blood on their hands. Marcus returned with files. Spread them across the table. Elena dove in. Names. Faces. Business fronts. She absorbed everything. Cross-referencing. Connecting dots. Her waitress skills translating perfectly. Remembering faces. Matching patterns. Seeing connections others missed. There. She pointed 2 hours later. Anthony Battaglia's lieutenant. He's been eating at Marco's Bistro every Tuesday for 6 months. Always alone. Always the corner table. Marco's is neutral ground. Marcus frowned. No crew touches it. Agreement between all families. Exactly. Elena pulled up the bistro's location on the map, which means he feels safe there. Unguarded. What if someone watched him? Followed him after? Found out where he goes when he thinks no one's paying attention? Moretti leaned forward. You're suggesting we track him from neutral ground. Find his vulnerabilities. Without breaking the agreement. I'm suggesting we watch. Elena's voice steadied with purpose. The way I watched at the diner. The way civilians watch. We're not crew. We don't trigger alarms. We're just people having dinner while he's having dinner. Marcus looked at Moretti. She's good. Scary good. She survived 15 years in hostile territory. Moretti's eyes held Elena's. She knows how to hunt without looking like she's hunting. They planned for 3 days. Elena memorizing every detail of the operation. The bistro layout, exit routes, Battaglia lieutenant's patterns. She studied the photos until she could spot him in a crowd, until she knew his walk, his mannerisms, the way he checked over his shoulder. On Tuesday evening, Elena walked into Marco's bistro in a red dress borrowed from Marcus's sister. Hair down, makeup perfect, looking nothing like the terrified waitress in security footage. Moretti entered separately. Expensive suit, different look. They sat at separate tables. Strangers sharing a restaurant. The lieutenant arrived at 7:15. Clockwork. Corner table. Ordered wine. Pasta. Acted like a man without enemies. Elena ate slowly. Watched through the mirror behind the bar. Cataloged everything. The phone calls he took. The nervous glance at the door. The way he touched his jacket where a gun probably rested. He left at 8:30. Moretti waited 60 seconds. Followed. Elena counted to 90. Paid her check. Slipped out the side entrance. Marcus was already tailing from his car. She joined him. 3-person surveillance. Professional and invisible. The lieutenant went to a warehouse in the industrial district. Met with 5 men. Elena photographed license plates. Faces. The exchange of a briefcase. This was more than a social call. This was business. Battaglia business on what should have been off hours. They followed him for a week. Mapped his entire operation. The warehouse held smuggled weapons. The men were his personal crew. Loyal to him. Not necessarily to Anthony Battaglia. A crew within a crew. An organization fracturing from inside. He's planning something. Elena spread the surveillance photos across Moretti's desk. Look at the pattern. He meets Anthony on Mondays. Reports in. Plays loyal. Then runs his own operation Tuesday through Friday. He's building power. Preparing to break away. Or preparing to sell information. Moretti's voice went cold. To whoever pays best. Could he be your leak? Elena's heart raced. Could he have sold you out to his own boss? Set up the hit to prove his loyalty before he betrays Anthony? Marcus pulled up financial records. The lieutenant made a $50,000 deposit 3 days before your ambush. Untraceable source. The same price they put on my head. Elena whispered. He sold you for the same amount he's willing to pay for me. Moretti's expression was murder. And he gets a discount. His life for both of ours. Wait. Elena's mind raced. If we kill him, we lose leverage. But if we flip him, if we offer him something better than what Anthony's giving, he betrays his boss, gives us the Battaglia operation from inside. Marcus was nodding. We take apart their empire with their own intelligence. It's brilliant. Moretti looked at Elena. Terrifying and brilliant. You think like a strategist. I think like someone who survived by making the right enemies fight each other. Elena met his gaze. I learned from the best. The streets raised me to see opportunities in chaos. The plan formed over 48 hours. Detailed. Dangerous. They'd approach the lieutenant at his warehouse. Offer him territory, money, protection, everything he need to break from the Battaglias and survive. In exchange for complete intelligence. Names, locations, financial records, everything to burn Anthony's organization to the ground. But approaching him meant exposing themselves. Meant walking into a warehouse controlled by his crew. Meant trusting that greed would outweigh loyalty. I'm coming with you. Elena's voice left no room for argument. He'll be suspicious of a crew. But a couple? Someone's girlfriend along for the meeting? That's normal. That's safe. You want to walk into another ambush. Moretti's jaw clenched. After everything, I want to finish what I started. Elena stood her ground. I saved you once. Let me help save you again. Permanently. Something blazed in Moretti's eyes. Admiration. Desire. Fear for her. Fear of her. This woman who kept walking into fire and refusing to burn. Who saw his world and demanded to help rather than hide. Who matched a move for move despite having every reason to run. Then we go together. He said quietly. But Elena, if anything goes wrong, if this turns into a fight, you don't play hero. You run. Promise me. She nodded. Lying? They both knew she was lying. Running wasn't her nature anymore. Maybe it never had been. Maybe saving Moretti had simply revealed who she'd always been underneath the waitress uniform and polite smiles. Someone who walked toward danger whispering, "Keep going, don't stop." They drove to the warehouse Thursday night. Marcus and two soldiers in backup positions. Moretti and Elena walking in alone. Couple coming to discuss business. The lieutenant's men searched them. Found nothing. Moretti had left his gun in the car. Trust play. Elena carried nothing but the kind of courage that couldn't be searched for. The lieutenant sat behind a metal desk. Suspicious. Intrigued. "Vincent Moretti. Heard you died last week. Yet here you are, with a very pretty friend. This is Elena." Moretti's hand rested on her lower back. "She saved my life. Now we're saving yours. Mine doesn't need saving." The lieutenant's smile was sharp. "No?" Elena spoke up. "Then why are you stealing from Anthony Battaglia? Building your own crew on his territory? Planning to break away before he realizes you're more ambitious than loyal?" The lieutenant's smile vanished. His men tensed. Reached for weapons. One wrong word, and this became a bloodbath. "We don't want to fight you." Moretti's voice stayed level. "We want to employ you. Anthony's going down. Soon. You could go down with him, or you could be the reason he falls, and profit from his collapse." Silence. The lieutenant's eyes calculating. "What's the offer?" "Territory. 3 neighborhoods Anthony controls." Elena pulled out the map. "Revenue streams. Protection. Everything you'd need to operate independently. In exchange for complete information on Battaglia operations. Locations. Suppliers. Financial records. Everything. And why would I trust you?" The lieutenant looked between them. "Moretti's the one who blocks Battaglia expansion. Costs us millions. Now, he's offering me Battaglia territory? This smells like a trap. It's opportunity." Elena held his gaze. "We all know Anthony's unstable. Violent. Unpredictable. How long before he decides you're a threat? Before your ambition gets you killed? We're offering you a way out. A way up. Before it's too late." The lieutenant studied her. Really studied her. "You're the waitress. The one who walked him out." "I am." Elena didn't flinch. "I saw what Anthony's people were willing to do. I saw the ambush. The planning. The brutality. Is that who you want to serve? Or do you want to build something better?" Minutes passed. The tension stretched like wire. Finally, the lieutenant laughed. Bitter and real. "Anthony's been planning to kill me for 2 months. Found out last week. This ambush on you? He made me set it up. Test of loyalty. I've been dead man walking ever since. Then walked toward us instead." Moretti's voice was gentle. "Steel wrapped in silk. Give us Anthony. Save yourself. Build something that doesn't end with you in the river." The lieutenant nodded slowly. "I want it in writing. Contract. Territory guaranteed. Protection for my crew. All of us. Done." Moretti extended his hand. "Welcome to the winning side." They shook. The deal struck. Elena breathed again. They'd done it. Flipped the enemy's lieutenant. Gain insider access to Battaglia operations. Set up the final trap that would end the war before more diners burned. Before more waitresses became targets. Outside, Marcus waited with the car. His expression disbelief. He actually agreed? He agreed. Moretti opened Elena's door. Because she convinced him. Because she saw what professionals missed. That desperate men don't need threats. They need hope. Elena slid into the car. Exhaustion hitting. They've been operating on adrenaline and coffee for days. Planning. Strategizing. Hunting hunters. Her body screamed for rest. Her mind raced with what came next. Moretti drove them back to the penthouse. Silent. Focused. Only when they were inside. Safe behind bulletproof glass. Did he finally speak? "You were extraordinary tonight." He poured 2 glasses of whiskey. Handed her one. "The way you read him." Gave him exactly what he needed to hear. "That's a gift, Elena. Dangerous gift. I learned from watching people lie to me for years." She accepted the glass. "You develop an ear for truth. For what people really want beneath what they say. And what do I really want?" Moretti's voice dropped. "Intimate. Beneath what I say." Elena met his eyes. "To protect what you love. To build something better than what you inherited. To prove you're more than the violence that made you." His expression fractured. Revealed. "And you? What do you really want beneath saving my life and planning gang warfare?" "To matter. Elena's honesty burned. To be someone who changes things instead of just surviving them. To prove I'm more than the scared girl who ran from her past. They stood close. Too close. The penthouse quiet around them. War planning forgotten. Danger momentarily distant. Just two people who'd seen each other at worst and best. Who'd trusted each other with life and truth. Moretti's hand touched her cheek. Gentle. Reverent. You matter, Elena. You've mattered since the moment you whispered, keep walking. You've changed everything. His lips met hers. Soft then fierce. Weeks of tension breaking. Elena kissed him back. Poured everything into it. Fear and hope and the wild realization that she'd fallen for the Mafia boss she'd saved. The criminal who protected neighborhoods. The killer with gentle hands. They broke apart, breathing hard. The kiss changing something fundamental between them. Tomorrow we end this. Moretti's forehead rested against hers. The lieutenant gives us Anthony's location. We take him down. Finish the war. Then you're safe. Finally safe. And then, Elena whispered, after safe, what happens to the waitress and the Mafia boss? Then we find out. His smile was soft. Real. If what we have survives the peace as well as it survived the war. Elena kissed him again. Answer enough. They'd survived ambushes and fire and assassination attempts. They'd survive whatever came after. Together. Keep walking. Don't stop. The war's end was coming. Victory close enough to taste. And beyond victory, a future neither had planned. Both desperately wanted. The waitress who saved a life. The boss who rebuilt his world around her courage. Tomorrow they'd finish it. Tonight, they held each other. Safe in the penthouse. High above the city, they'd both fought to protect. The lieutenant's intel was gold. Anthony Battaglia would be at the rebuilt diner location in 72 hours. Personal inspection, sending a message that he owned that territory now. That burning Rosie's dream was just the beginning. Elena stared at the surveillance photos spread across Moretti's desk. Her diner. Her home. The place where this all started. And she had an idea that made Moretti's face go white. Use me as bait. She said it calmly. Leak that I'm going back. That I'm meeting Rosie to survey the damage. Anthony can't resist. He'll come to finish what his men started. And we'll be waiting. Absolutely not. Moretti's voice was steel. No, not happening. I didn't keep you alive this long to feed you to that animal. You didn't keep me alive. Elena met his fury with her own fire. I kept me alive. I kept you alive. And I'm the only advantage we have. Anthony wants me dead personally. For ruining his perfect hit. For making him look weak. He'll come. And when he does, we end him. Marcus stood in the doorway. She's right, boss. We could position 50 men and Anthony would smell the trap. But a waitress returning to her burned workplace? Grieving. Vulnerable. He'll think it's Christmas. If anything goes wrong. Moretti's hands clenched. If he gets within 10 feet of you before we move, then you shoot him. Elena's voice didn't waver. You've been protecting me for weeks. Trust me to help finish this. Trust that I'm strong enough. The silence stretched. Moretti's internal war visible on his face. The need to keep her safe battling the knowledge that she was right. That using her as bait was tactically brilliant. Emotionally devastating. Their only real chance. 48 hours of prep. Marcus positioned 20 men in buildings surrounding the diner's burned remains. Snipers on roofs. Ground teams and vehicles. Escape routes covered. Every angle calculated. The lieutenant fed Anthony false intel. Confirmed Elena would be there. Alone. Grieving. Easy target. Moretti outfitted Elena with a wire. Bulletproof vest hidden under her jacket. Tracker in her shoe. Panic button disguised as a ring. His hands shook slightly, attaching each piece. She caught his wrist. I'm walking into fire again. Elena's voice was gentle. And I'm walking out. Just like before. Because you'll be watching. You'll keep me safe. I can't lose you. Moretti's confession raw. You understand that? You've become everything. Everything I didn't know I needed. If he hurts you, he won't. She kissed him. Fierce and fast. Because I'm Vicente, Moretti's woman now. And everyone knows what happens to people who touch what's yours. The morning of the operation, Elena dressed in civilian clothes. Jeans. Simple sweater. Hair in a ponytail. She looked exactly like a waitress returning to mourn her workplace. broken, vulnerable, perfect bait. Marcus drove her to the location. Moretti in the command vehicle 2 blocks away. Every screen showing her position. Every team ready to move on his signal. The lieutenant had confirmed Anthony was en route. 3 cars, 8 men, coming to personally eliminate the waitress who'd embarrassed him. Elena stood in the rubble of Rosie's diner, the counter where she'd serve coffee, the booths where regulars told their stories. All of it ash and twisted metal. Real grief hit her. This place had been her sanctuary, her second chance, and Anthony Battaglia had burned it for revenge. She heard the cars before she saw them. 3 black SUVs pulling up, doors opening, men emerging with weapons visible. No pretense, no subtlety. Anthony wanted her to see death coming. The gang leader stepped out last. Expensive suit, gold chains, face she'd memorized from photos. Anthony Battaglia, the man who'd ordered her death, who'd tried to kill Moretti, who'd terrorized neighborhoods for profit. Well, Anthony's voice carried across the ruins. The famous waitress. You cost me a lot of money, little girl. Ruined a very expensive operation. Made me look weak. Elena's heart hammered. The wire transmitting everything. Moretti listening. Teams positioned. But Anthony was approaching. Getting closer. She had to keep him talking. Had to wait for the perfect moment. You looked weak because you are weak. Elena's voice surprised her with its strength. Had to set an ambush 6 against 1. Had to burn a diner to feel powerful. Real strength doesn't need that many guns. Anthony laughed. Cruel. Amused. You got spirit. I like that. Shame I have to kill you. Could have used someone with your guts. His men fanned out, surrounding her. 8 against 1. The odds Anthony preferred. Elena's hand touched her ring. The panic button. 1 press and Moretti's teams would storm in. But not yet. Not until Anthony was committed. Not until his entire crew was in the trap. Before you kill me. Elena kept her voice steady. Tell me why. Why target Moretti? What did he do that was worth this war? He exists. Anthony spat. Controls territory I need. Blocks my expansion. Thinks he's some kind of hero protecting these garbage neighborhoods. I'm going to own this whole city. Starting with his corpse. And mine? Elena took a step back. Calculated. Drawing him deeper into the kill zone. What's my death worth to you? Satisfaction. Anthony pulled his gun. The knowledge that Vincent Moretti couldn't protect the one person stupid enough to save him. That his empire crumbles starting with you. Now. Elena pressed the panic button. Now. Chaos erupted. Moretti's teams burst from every direction. Snipers firing. Ground units moving in. Anthony's men tried to react, but they were surrounded. Outgunned. Trapped in the exact ambush they'd thought they were delivering. Get down. Marcus tackled Elena behind rubble. Bullets screaming overhead. She watched through the gaps. Moretti emerging like an avenging angel. His men overwhelming Battaglia soldiers with surgical precision. No civilian casualties. No collateral damage. Just pure tactical execution. Anthony tried to run. Made it 3 steps. Moretti appeared in front of him. Gun raised. Face carved from rage. For every family you terrorized. Moretti's voice was death itself. For every life you destroyed. For touching her. Wait. Anthony's courage failed. We can deal. I'll give you territory. Money. Whatever you want. You have nothing I want. Moretti's finger tightened on the trigger. Accept your surrender. Don't miss the epic conclusion. Hit subscribe and turn on all notifications. The shot echoed. Anthony dropped. Not dead. Wounded. His gun skittering away. Moretti's men swarmed. Secured him. Secured his crew. The entire operation over in 90 seconds. Clean. Decisive. Victory absolute. Elena stood. Legs shaking. Marcus released her. She walked through the aftermath. Past captured soldiers. Past Anthony bleeding and cursing. Straight to Moretti. He caught her. Held her. Hands checking for injuries. Face pale. You're okay? You're not hurt? I'm okay. Elena breathed him in. We're okay. It's over. Moretti kissed her. Deep and desperate. In front of his entire crew. In front of captured enemies. Claiming her publicly. Irrevocably. She was his. He was hers. Everyone would know. Marcus approached. Boss. Anthony's talking. giving up his whole network. Suppliers, political contacts, everything. He's done. Good. Moretti didn't let Elena go. Let the feds have him. I want him in prison, living, knowing he lost everything to a waitress. The cleanup took hours. Federal agents arrived. Anthony and his crew disappeared into custody. The lieutenant confirmed safe, protected, rewarded for his betrayal. The war officially over. Battaglia Empire dismantled. Peace returning to neighborhoods that had lived in fear. Rosie appeared, tears streaming. Elena, oh my girl, you're alive. They embraced. Elena sobbing. I'm so sorry about the diner. I'm so sorry. Sorry? Rosie pulled back, held her face. You saved Vincent. You ended the Battaglias. You made these streets safe again. The diner? Insurance will rebuild. But you're a hero child. I'm just a waitress who got brave once. Once? Moretti joined them. You got brave every single day, walking toward danger, demanding to help, refusing to hide. Elena, you didn't just save my life. You changed it. Marcus cleared his throat. Boss, the crew, they want to meet her officially. Welcome her. Elena looked at Moretti, questioning. He nodded, took her hand, led her to where his men gathered. 20 hard faces, criminals and soldiers, all watching her with something like reverence. This is Elena Torres. Moretti's voice carried authority. She saved my life, helped end the Battaglia threat, risked everything when she owed me nothing. She's under my protection, my partner. Anyone touches her answers to me personally. Understood? A chorus of agreement. Respect in every face. Marcus stepped forward, offered his hand. Welcome to the family, Elena. You earned it. Family. The word hit her. She lost one family escaping her past, found another serving coffee, and now this. A criminal organization accepting her, protecting her, treating her as equal because she'd proven herself in fire. The diner will be rebuilt, Moretti announced. Neutral ground, under my protection, safe haven for everyone. Rosie, name your price, whatever you need. I need my waitress back. Rosie smiled through tears. When she's ready. If she's ready. Elena looked at the ruins, the place where she'd started over, where she'd found purpose, where she'd saved the man she loved. Could she go back? Pour coffee and serve pancakes after gang wars and ambushes? I'll come back, Elena decided. But part-time. She turned to Moretti. Because I have other work now. Helping you. Protecting these neighborhoods. Making sure what happened here never happens again. Moretti's smile was soft. Proud. My tactical consultant. My partner in crime. Literally. Marcus laughed. She's scarier than you, boss. Better instincts. No hesitation. We're all doomed. The crew laughed. Tension breaking. Victory settling in. They'd won. Survived. Built something new from ashes and blood and desperate courage. 3 months later, Elena stood in the rebuilt diner. Grand opening. The neighborhood packed. Rosie crying happy tears. The booths filled with faces old and new. At the corner booth, Moretti sat. His usual spot. Coffee steaming in front of him. Elena brought him a refill. Smiled. The usual? Actually, Moretti pulled a small box from his jacket. I like to order something permanent. The box opened. Diamond ring. Simple. Elegant. Perfect. Elena's breath caught. I know it's fast. Moretti's voice was gentle. I know we met in chaos. But Elena, you walked into my life and changed everything. Made me believe in heroes again. In hope. In love. Marry me. Be my partner in everything. Not just war, but peace. Building something better. Yes. Elena didn't hesitate. Yes, absolutely yes. The diner erupted in cheers. Rosie sobbing. Marcus grinning. The neighborhood celebrating. Elena slid into the booth. Moretti put the ring on her finger. Kissed him while everyone watched. The waitress and the Mafia boss. The woman who saw danger and whispered, keep walking. The man who learned love from the stranger who saved his life. They'd survived fire, bullets, betrayal, war, and found each other in the wreckage. Built something real from tactical planning and desperate kisses. Chose each other every single day. Elena looked at her ring. At Moretti. At the rebuilt diner full of life and hope. This was home. Not the building. The people. The man beside her. The neighborhood they'd fought to save. Keep walking and don't stop, she told him once. They'd walked through hell together and emerged holding hands, ready for whatever came next. Together, always together. The waitress who became a queen, the boss who learned to love. The partnership forged in blood and sealed with forever. Sometimes courage means walking straight into danger, and saving someone's life can lead to finding your own purpose and unexpected love. The bravest choice isn't always the safest one, but it's the one that changes everything. Would you have risked your life to save a stranger from an ambush? Could you have walked past assassins without running? Subscribe to this channel. Share this story with someone who loves intense romance. Hit that notification bell because the next story is absolutely insane. Comment below, Team Elena or Team Safety? Let's discuss.